Copy.
Hey everyone, welcome to another MoonDAO Town Hall. Yeah, this week we've got a pretty packed agenda, a lot of exciting stuff. We are deep into our fundraiser for the Inspiration4 Space Camp complex, and we have a few people here that are going to share a bit about what the Inspiration4 Space Camp is. Dive into how this all came together. As you can see here, we're like 71% of our goal, and we've got 9.5 days. So I think we'll make it, but hopefully we'll inspire a few more people to contribute here and sponsor more things at Space Camp. So I guess just quickly for context, we are sponsoring a multi-axis trainer, but if we surpass this goal, then we'll continue to sponsor more things. So so we've got a few awesome people here with us today to share more about the Inspiration4 Space Camp complex. And Ryan, I guess anything to add before we jump straight into that?
Yeah, I mean, we made some huge progress in the last week. I think last week during our town hall, we were at about 55%. I don't know how many people have donated since then, but I think we went from like 25 backers to 35 backers or something like that. And we also obviously had a huge boost from our second astronaut, Iman, who put in a nice little matching contribution for folks who contributed over the last week. So huge thank you to Iman for pushing this forward more and making people's contributions go count for double. So really cool to see us closing in here on the last week in a really good spot to finish strong here. And obviously we can go above and beyond this goal and do bigger and better things too. So yeah, just wanted to shout out Iman.
Yeah, thanks, Iman. Yeah, and it's awesome too. We've got the notification system. So like in the Discord, every time someone contributes, then we can spam them with emojis and stickers. So if anything, do it for the Discord emojis. I find that one of the funnest parts of the campaign. But yeah, great. Well, I will pass it over to we have Emily, who's going to give a brief presentation on the Inspiration4 Space Camp, and then we'll kind of kick off a conversation from there. So yeah, thank you so much, Emily, for joining us, and take it away.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and thank you for putting this fundraiser together. Every donation changes lives. I always say that, when you impact a child, you're changing a generation, and when you change a generation, you can change the world. And I fully believe that Space Camp is going to change the world. So thank you for helping us fulfill our mission, and every donation counts. So I wanted to walk you all through the I-4 building just a little bit today. So let's see. It may not let me do it. There we go.
There we go.
Okay.
It's always, we're using a new platform here, so it's always like figuring out the buttons, etc. There we go.
Can you see it?
Yes.
Perfect. We gotcha.
All right. All right, so this is the exterior of the building. Currently, right now, the building is almost complete in its phase of being built. It's about 50,000 square feet. So the purpose of this building is to allow for updated simulations. Previously to this building, what we have had is our shuttle era. So we are keeping that. We think that the past is important to teach our trainees how we got to where we are today. But Jared Isaacman and his team have given us a vision to teach our trainees what the future is and where we currently are. So a lot of commercial space is going into this building. And so this is the outside. And so when you enter in here, this is what the lobby will look like. And when you make a left into the building, we're calling this our aviation wing. So we are not only updating our space side of camp, but we are updating our aviation, our cyber, and our robotics programs as well. So if you look into this window right here, you will see we have a drone activity going on. We do have a outdoor drone net right now, but this building is allowing us to do indoor drone facility where we can do different things with different terrains, some AI software, and it'll definitely allow us to teach modern day technology with drones now becoming more and more popular in our technology. This is our parachute simulator room for our aviation challenge kiddos. What's cool about this activity is you'll use VR as part of it. So it will simulate what it's like to feel like you are in a parachute. We can set it so that you are in different terrains, different time of day. You can be in the winter, it can be raining, it can be snowing. And so you will start off as if you had just jumped out of a plane. And then as you get closer to the Earth's surface, you will pull a lever and it will have you switch into a position so that you're ready to land. But you are 100% immersed and you feel like you are in an actual parachute. This is probably the most important room for this particular fundraiser. This is our new AstroSims room. If you look towards the back, you'll see our MATs, or multi-axis trainers, which this is what the fundraiser is focusing on. So the multi-axis trainer is essentially rings inside of rings, which trains our astronauts to get out of a tumble spin in space. It started back in our early days of pioneering. And so it is probably one of the staple items of Space Camp. And so it's we're going to have 4 of these currently in our Space Camp curriculum. In addition to this room in our MATs, we will have a 1/6 gravity chair, and it is more modern than what our current one is. In addition to that, what it will do is it will not only simulate 1/6 gravity, which is walking on the moon, it will simulate 1/3 gravity, which is walking on Mars. And this is probably my favorite feature to the building. This is something we have never yet done at Space Camp. When we do missions at Space Camp, we have different areas for our trainees to go into. You're either assigned the orbiter, you're either assigned mission control, or you are assigned space station. And so right now, this is a mission that is an all mission control mission. So what that means is the entire team is in mission control for their mission. So this gives us opportunities for our cyber camp kiddos to, be on Earth. There could be a cyber attack up in space, and they have to work together as a team to shut that attack down. Or it allows our space camp kiddos to be able to do something like an Apollo 13 simulation. So there's a situation up in space. They have to work together on the ground in mission control to relay that information back up in space to figure out the best thing to do to safely bring everyone back to Earth. One thing that we are also adding all throughout this building is a lot of AI. SAM, which is Strategic Assistance and Monitoring, is being added everywhere in this building. So SAM is essentially a tool for the crew trainer or camp counselor. He can be whatever we want Sam to be. If it's an all-girl team, Sam can become a female. If it's an Australian team, Sam can become Australian. So Sam's job is to make sure that education doesn't stop. So I like to think of Sam as like Clippy, but modern day. So the purpose of SAM is to make sure that the trainees are always engaged in learning and there's no downtime for them, especially in their mission. Right now, with our setup, the way that our mission floor is when the crew trainer is focusing on one trainee and teaching them their role in the mission, then the rest of the trainees are kind of waiting. SAM now will be able to step in and say, hey, we're going to learn more together while you wait for the crew trainer to come and teach you what to do. So they'll have side quests in their missions. They will always be learning something nonstop. So it'll be a nice tool. He'll also be all over campus. So if trainees have questions about space or missions or something that they learned throughout the day, they can ask Sam. This is our standard mission control room for our other missions that you'll see momentarily. And this is the new Polaris Dawn mission experience. We are doing a brand new mission floor to bring us to modern day. So Jared Isaacman challenged us to think outside the box and to make sure that our experience was fully immersive. So right now we have a Mars mission and we will have a deep space mission, as you see here. What's nice about this mission experience is that it doesn't matter what your role is, you are 100% fully immersed in what you are doing. Currently, our mission floor, if you look outside and are on, in the orbiter, you could see mission control. So it kind of takes away from the immersion and you don't feel 100% realistic. Here, if you look out the window of the space station and you're on Mars, you feel like you're on Mars. If you are taking off in space, you can feel like you're taking off in space. We have different seat belts that are going to tighten and loosen as you're taking off to simulate that you are fully becoming an astronaut and taking off in that experience. And that is it.
Awesome. Yeah. So something that is kind of striking to me is that this isn't like just 1980s space camp. You guys are integrating like a bunch of new technologies into this, and I think it's really awesome to like just expose younger people to these technologies like VR and AI and integrate it into mission control or into parachute simulations, stuff like that. Really, yeah. So we've got some more people that we want to add up here on stage. Ryan, if you could help out with moving people around. I don't know the best way to do it, but we've got Ethan here who has helped us helped connect us with this opportunity, and so yeah, very, very grateful not only for connecting us, but then also your very generous matching contribution.
My pleasure. And also, I just want to say, we talk about connections. I think the next person you're bringing up, if you're bringing up Dr. Gretchen Green, she's the reason I met Emily. So this is a good loop of connections. So who are you guys going to bring to the table, MoonDAO? I guess all the citizens.
Yeah. Right. Awesome. Yeah, and we've got Gretchen here too. So perfect. Yeah, so maybe I think it would be interesting to just kind of tell the story of like how all this came together, and how why are we all gathered together to support Space Camp, and how can people within the MoonDAO community support you guys even beyond this fundraiser? I think that's like, we want to not just support financially, but then also like, I don't know, we've got an extended community of people from all over the world, and I think there are probably other opportunities where they can get engaged. So yeah, thank you, Gretchen, for being with us.
Yeah, I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you.
Cool.
So Pablo, you were asking how this all started. So I was fortunate enough to support Dr. Green's flight when she flew with New Shepard on the New Shepard rocket here this past year. And so we got to talking because we had some downtime in the Carmen Line bar. And she told me how heavily she was involved in Space Camp, both as a board member and also someone who's just supported it basically her whole life. So when I told her that I also lived near Space Camp, being in Nashville, and had always wanted to do it as a kid, and then when I grew up, as soon as my son was old enough, took him and we did family Space Camp, she's like, well, I think you should meet all the people there. And so she's the one who introduced me to Emily. But for me, Space Camp, in the 80s, there was nothing like it. The movie had come out. That's where I first got my experience with space, because we would drive down 2 hours from Nashville to go see, the Space and Rocket Center. And I always wanted to go. It's just that my family couldn't afford it growing up. And so I had applied for scholarships, and didn't get them. But when I grew up and was able to go, then I said, all right, now's the time. I would be super interested in hearing Gretchen's, experience with it, because I think she's had this like really wide experience in space camp.
Yeah, absolutely. I first attended space camp in 1986. My mom had signed me up to go. Then the Challenger explosion happened. And that really put it into context for me that at the age of 12, I could see that there were people who were literally willing to risk their lives for something that is so important as space exploration for humanity. That made an indelible impression on me. And I decided that in addition to wanting to be a doctor, which I always had been since I was 2, I then also wanted to be an astronaut because my life was worth devoting myself to something that seemed like it was one of the hardest and nearly impossible things to achieve. So I went to space camp and I learned for the first time that kids could, in fact, do things like simulated shuttle missions. That was the shuttle era. And that to me was totally novel, that we could do adult things like that through science and math at camp in the summer for fun. So I kept coming back to camp. And then in college came back as a crew trainer where I taught high school kids, including on things like the multi-axis trainer and the 1/6 gravity chair. Those are some of these devices that help it feel real, in addition to that mental challenge and experience of teamwork. So that was a super fun summer in a way that really helped me start to give back to the organization. I continued on serving as ultimately chair of the board for the Space Camp Alumni Association. And one of the first ways that we can help unite space enthusiasts throughout the world is anybody who's watching this, if you've been to space camp, you're an alumnus. And that's my conversation I had with Iman that, as I was getting ready to launch and experience that finally for myself to become the 102nd woman in space above the Kármán line, we realized it was all of these personal connections to this dream that made it a reality. So I told Iman that because he had gone to camp, even as an adult for family camp, he was an alumnus too, and impacting that network, those connections worldwide. So that's how this connection got made. And that's the first thing that I would love is that people who've gone, and to recognize that A, if you have gone, then you're a member of this community, and that B, if you haven't gone, you can still go. A lot of people never know that even as adults, they can come to camp. And for some people, that becomes that reality for them through family camp or the adult programming. So those are opportunities because, at the age of 51, to become the first woman physician commercial astronaut, believe me, I never thought it would actually be likely to be possible. But I have this quote here on my calendar: everything is theoretically impossible until it is done. And that's Robert Heinlein. So, the impact of organizations like this worldwide on community, I so appreciate MoonDAO's sponsorship of this to help make this dream reality for kids and adults worldwide. And this help to just keep fueling that passion and enthusiasm is priceless. So it's just wonderful to be part of this, and I'm so grateful for that support. Thank you.
See, I feel like Gretchen was going to do an amazing job, and I was not disappointed because, everything she said is 100% accurate. And it's fun to go down there. I was down when Cyan and the Inspiration4 team actually when they were all put in the Hall of Fame, Space Camp Hall of Fame. I was there, which was cool. And then I remember that one of those mornings having breakfast with Cyan at the hotel right there. And there were people I had known doing space camp with their kids because they were there with an organization. I forget what the organization was, but I was like, this is so cool. Like, all of these people who never got a chance to do it when they were younger still have a chance to do it as they've grown up. And my goal is to go back to family space camp when my daughter turns 6. So I have 3 more years, and then I'm going to drag my wife with me too. So all 4 of us will go. My son will probably be cool with going, though he says he doesn't want to go to space. He's like, that's for you, Dad. I'm like, all right.
I took my son to family camp also, and then both of my kids went to camp in 2019 for full camp on their own because, they were big kids then. And thank goodness that we did, because then COVID happened, and then they had the opportunity as alumni to help in the Save Space Camp campaign. These challenges that we never anticipate coming, never let a challenge go unanswered. these are all things that help develop us as people. And so it's an amazing experience, whether you're a kid or an adult.
I would say that's a whole nother thing too. I forgot about the Save Space Camp campaign, but that was another one I had donated to. And the fact that in 5 short years, we've gone from Save Space Camp, which is like this thing may go away because we need sponsorship and support, to now we have state-of-the-art buildings being built is pretty incredible, and goes to show you like why perseverance is so important. If the people like, you know, Emily and Gretchen hadn't worked hard to raise funds to Save Space Camp 5 years ago, then we wouldn't be sitting here talking about a lunar and a Mars simulated space camp, which I think that's amazing. I think that's the power of persistence and the power of like supporting those things that you dream about and those things that are important. Even if it's like $5 or $10, that's what Save Space Camp was running on. It's like everyone just send a few dollars here and there, and this campaign too with MoonDAO to support you guys and, you know, all of us as alumni, I think is pretty incredible.
Well,
And-
I actually didn't know that at all. I didn't know that 5 years ago. It was like, yeah, that's an incredible comeback story to now having, you know, the current NASA administrator be a part of this like huge complex and, you know, putting a huge check in to support Space Camp. Could you guys maybe like what did that look like? I guess like going from 5 years ago to today, like could you maybe walk us through that journey? I'm curious because like it's like ultimate comeback, incredible. How much was raised for Save Space Camp? How did that campaign go? This is all like new to me, so I'm just curious.
Yeah, we raised about 1.5 million for Save Space Camp, which was great, and the alumni really came through. That was probably the most beautiful thing out of it all, and the most terrible time seeing them all come out of nowhere. They just were like, "Hey, we have to save Space Camp. Space Camp saved my life. It changed and it made me who I am today." You know, we had a kid who saved his lunch money and donated. So, I mean, it didn't matter the amount. You just saw the passion more than anything. And that's what kept our doors open and got us to where we are today.
Amazingly, one of my crewmates, Amy, went to the Space Camp for Educators program. So we have a specific program for teachers because we recognize that education is such a critical foundation for what we do at Space Camp. And she went there because we had saved Space Camp, and then the two of us ended up flying together. And I get choked up about it because for me, that was so emotional seeing that kind of butterfly ripple effect throughout the world so quickly. Normally, you know, you do work with organizations and you expect it to be an investment truly in the future that can take a long time. But for this, the results were just immediate. And to be able to fly with my crewmate whose journey to Space Camp and space was possible because of that community support was so personally meaningful to me as well. I had the joy and privilege of actually being able to participate in graduations this summer during our reunion weekend for alumni, which we always have in conjunction with the Hall of Fame dinner, and seeing the joy and the smiles and enthusiasm on the kids' faces as I would hand them their diplomas and take photos, standing there telling them, this is what an astronaut looks like. You know, I came here when I was 12 and started dreaming about this and started to imagine what it would look like to be on the other side of it, and having had that opportunity that so many other people helped make possible for me is just a mission that I love to share with others.
Yeah, well, I want to loop it back to what Emily said in the beginning, which is that, in investing in like the upcoming generation is like one of the most important things that we can do. I'm curious, you know, how, like, are there any like, I'm a numbers person. Are there like, how do we quantify the sort of impact that Space Camp has? I'm curious, you know, like like I can feel that it's made a massive difference in the space community. But yeah, I'm curious, like what sort of numbers can be put to this?
So there's more than 1 million alumni out there, and we're still trying to find them. So like Gretchen said, if you are one, let us know. But as far as astronauts, we're still figuring out the actual number too, because they're popping up. So
20 something though, right? I mean, yeah, 20 something of whom a really high percentage are women. And this is not something that camp ever intentionally, I think, set out to do. And yet what we found is that when we provide an educational environment that pulls from everyone's strengths in the team, what we find is leaders emerge that look different. And that's one of the exciting things that I've experienced with Blue Origin, is seeing people from all over the world, from all different paths, who are getting this opportunity to experience space and then bring it to others to share that journey.
And I will say, we don't just focus on astronauts. Like, we don't just say, oh, we only want you to become an astronaut when you grow up. We instill a can-do attitude in our trainees, that they can do whatever they set their mind to. So if they want to grow up and be an artist when they grow up, then you can do that. I mean, whatever your vision is for your future, you can do it. And we instill those skills in them to achieve it.
Yeah, that's yeah. I mean, I think it goes to show just how big of an impact it made in people's lives that you guys were able to raise $1.5 million from the alumni, and be able to save space camp. And yeah, I mean, those types of stories are like incredibly heartwarming for me. Like, that's a lot of the reason that we like build these tools, is to allow people in the space community to save the things that matter to them and that have made an impact in their lives, especially in an environment where a lot of things like are kind of maybe tumultuous, or there's a lot of groups that are losing funding, or funding is being reallocated. So I think that there's a lot of stuff in flux, and it's I think powerful to have those sort of like those narratives where like, yes, the space community can make a difference if we organize, and we can save these things that are so crucial to like building the type of world we want to see. So yeah.
One example of a camp that has impact that goes far beyond what you would think is a space-focused mission is the space camp for the visually impaired. So there's a dedicated week where kids from all over the country can come who are visually impaired, which there's a range of abilities, from those who are affected to those who are completely blind. And for them, the experience of participating in space missions, you would think, what would be the benefit of that? But the benefit is immeasurable, because again, you're giving people skills that they never thought were possible. And that's the real key here, is by doing what we think is impossible, we can have just an unmeasurable impact on everyone for benefit.
And as feedback to you also, my friend Sherry Wells, who is with Astro Access, we did an analog together. She's blind. I was supposed to see her 2 days ago, but her plans changed. But she's down there, or she was down in Huntsville just 2 days ago for this space camp, as an adult there with these children who are visually impaired. And she said it was done so well. So hats off to everyone who's kind of organized that, coordinated that, because she said, she's a pretty harsh critic when she feels like something's not being done well, and that they're not giving the children and people the opportunity to really thrive. And she said that you guys did an outstanding job down there for this week. So good work.
Awesome. Well, we're here at the 30-minute mark, so I want to be respectful of everyone's time. Thank you guys so much for joining us in this town hall, and for helping give more context around the Inspiration4 space complex, and the impact that people can make by contributing. I just want to emphasize one more time for anyone listening, like $5-10 really does matter a lot. It makes an impact. We've got 9 more days, and we're 71% to the goal. So I think we can get there. But yeah, just want to, the link is there at the bottom, www.moondao.com/spacecamp. Yeah, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Gretchen. Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Iman. Really appreciate you guys. Yeah, like I think this is our first fundraiser, by the way. I feel like that should be emphasized. Like this is the first thing that we've applied our tools towards, and I think it's incredible that all of this came together through these like serendipitous connections that have made this possible. So thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you all.
Thank you. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Awesome. So I'll pass it over to Ryan. We're going to go into proposals from the community. So we've got, I think we'll start with Frank's proposal. Yeah, Ryan, go ahead.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, awesome conversation. Really cool to see those behind the scenes views of the I4 Training Center, and super cool to have obviously two people who flew into space here with us. So yeah, thank you again, everyone, for joining. Please do get some more contributions coming in. We can make a little push here today too and get over 75% maybe. But yeah, we have one proposal today, so I will invite Frank up on stage. Hey, Frank, how's it going?
Hello,
Frank,
Ryan. I'm doing well.
Hey,
How
hey.
are you?
Good.
Frank,
Good to see you.
done with the place. Your house looks
Remodeled.
I have this fantastic virtual house. Usually what shows up behind me is the Earth from the moon. But in this particular setting, I can't do that. So I have this beautiful $1 million home.
Wow.
It's all fake, everybody. Don't take it seriously.
And usually MoonDAO shows up behind you too, popping out of the curtains.
Only if she feels like I've been on the Zoom too long.
Okay.
She'll show up. Don't worry.
Okay. Well, cool. Well, yeah, Frank, now's your chance to, if you want to share your screen, bring up the proposal, or I can bring up the proposal and you can kind of walk us through what you've got in mind for the community. And
can you tell me how to share screen here?
Yeah, share screen's right down there in the middle button, like a plus on a monitor. It says share screen. So you can pull up a tab or proposal there.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so
Perfect.
here I'm going to see if this will work. If
Cool.
not, I may have to ask you to do it.
Yeah, no worries.
Let's
Yeah, I
see.
guess. Well, Frank loads that up. I just want to say a couple of words. So we've been working with Frank for a while, and yeah, I'm honored to have Frank lead a MoonDAO project. If the community accepts it. But yeah, we've been collaborating with Frank and Frank's organization HSP for a while, and so it's awesome to have this project to set the stage for a big thing that we're working on with Frank. So yeah.
Okay, well, why don't we go ahead, Ryan? Why don't
Pull
you,
it up. Yeah.
since you're familiar with the structure we have here?
I'll do that. Yeah, I was just going to say, Frank, too, I don't think you need an introduction, but maybe you should just give a little bit of background. I mean, obviously you interviewed tons of astronauts, wrote the Overview Effect book, but tell us a little bit more about yourself before we talk about the project, and I'll pull that up.
I should say, first of all, that my late wife, Donna, always wanted me to go to adult space camp. So I guess I still have to do that. My son is an alumnus, and I've interviewed both Iman and Gretchen for the 5th edition of the Overview Effect. And so what I am best known for is coining the term Overview Effect and writing the book, The Overview Effect, Space Exploration and Human Evolution. And so what I'm going to present today is a small project to lay the foundation for a larger project called the Overview Effect Comparison Project. And before we get into the proposal, I just want to say it occurred to me this morning there are three firsts that the bigger project will bring to bear. And I think they're all important. One is I have interviewed over 50 astronauts to talk about their experience off world. And of course, I know a lot about the overview effect intellectually, but I've never experienced it. So the first milestone is that I will, after studying the overview effect for 40 years, I will experience it. And that will be a milestone. The second milestone is that I've become fascinated with the question of whether an artificial intelligence or AI can experience this phenomenon in which you see the Earth from a distance and you have really profound realizations about our situation as a planet. I've been doing work with GPT-5 without leaving the surface, and I can tell you more about that. But basically, GPT-5 created its own overview effect experience. And what I'd like to do is use meta glasses or some other technology to take an AI with me and just see if an AI could experience the overview effect. This has actually more than passing interest because we are attempting to give AIs good values so that they'll be good partners for humanity. And I've worked for 40 years, as I said, to share the values of the overview effect with humans. And I believe it would be helpful if AIs could have those values as well. Third, to date, nobody has really done a careful analysis of what is the difference between Blue Origin, Virgin Galactic, or SpaceX, the different carriers, in how they produce this phenomenon, or even a stratospheric balloon. So part of the goal of the comparison project is to go on all the carriers, or as many as possible, and then do a comparison of the experience. So there are going to be major firsts of the larger project. Let's go to the next screen, Ryan. I guess I have to ask you to do that. Well, I see it's very difficult to read it on the screen. Okay. But basically, what I can say is that the project we're asking to have you support right now is a 2-month project. And the whole idea is to lay the foundation for the overview effect comparison project, which we hope to launch in January of 2026. So let's move on to the solution part and also the benefits here. So the problem is that we really have, in the short period of especially commercial spaceflight, we really don't know which carriers produce the overview effect. We think they all do, but how do they do it and how could it be improved? And this is another project I'm working on, which is how can we maximize the spaceflight experience of commercial astronauts? So the benefits of the project would be that we would have this comparison. And when people are considering, which flight should I take if I have a choice, we'll have some data for them. And also, I do want to say as a benefit, the amount of money we're asking for this short project will more than be reimbursed by the larger project if it succeeds. And in addition, there's a documentary being done about the project, and that will bring a lot of attention to the overview effect, but also to MoonDAO, and especially to this incredible fundraising platform that MoonDAO has. So what are the risks? the risks are that the overview effect comparison project wouldn't succeed. And that's why we want to spend these 2 months in preparation, because I've spent many years at Harvard University on fundraising, and I know that the success of any fundraising effort is directly proportional to how much planning goes into it. So, what are the objectives? Well, we have 4. The first objective is to develop a fundraising plan for the overview effect comparison project. So we will develop a written plan with milestones for success. The second objective is to get soft commitments of upwards of $100,000 for the project. So during this planning period, we'll also be talking to potential supporters, and we'll have a goal of $100,000 in commitments when we launch. And the third objective is to actually be in touch with the carriers and to find out what they would charge for a flight, and what conditions would they put on a flight for me and for my AI companion. I think I skipped one. The other objective is to create a kickoff video that we would use to start the project when we launch it next year. Okay, so we have 4 objectives, and let's move on to the team. The team is pretty simple. It's me. I will be the project manager, and I will be the team. I do have a number of supporters for this project, starting with MoonDAO. Thank you, Pablo. Thank you, Ryan. But I do have a number of other people who really want to see this project happen. And so, although they are not going to be doing it in a funded manner, I will have a lot of help. Okay, we can move on down to the next. I won't go into detail about this, but there is a timeline plan, and you can see it if you take a look at the proposal. And then there is a budget. I think, are we at the budget? I believe we are. Yeah. So for this planning project over the next 2 months, the budget is $8,780. And I believe that that's been translated into 2.54 ETH. And essentially, that will cover 20 hours a week of my time at $50 an hour over 8 weeks. This is essentially a stipend so that I can focus on this preparatory work for the larger project. And like so many of us, I have so many different activities that I'm focusing on. This will be very helpful in making sure that I can put the time and energy into it that we need in order to really complete a plan that will make sure that when we launch the project, it's going to raise the funds and it will be a success. So, Ryan, I think that's the end. Is that right?
That is the end of the proposal. Yes. Let me just, we have senators that are probably watching here in Discord as well. So I just wanted to say, if anyone in the Senate has any questions or anything, you can relay them in Discord. I can relay them here. We can also send you a link if a senator wanted to hop up here on stage and chat this way, but we're experimenting with a new format of doing this directly in StreamYard as opposed to Discord. So that's the change this week. But yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of the presentation, Frank. I wonder maybe if you could speak obviously there's a longer term goal to do this preparation that will launch in January that you've alluded to, but can you talk about any sort of like perhaps benefits directly to the MoonDAO community during the shorter term, perhaps?
Yeah, well, of course, I'll be learning a great deal about the carriers during this time. And some of what I learned I may not be able to share because some of the carriers may want to have it done under an NDA, but I will share as much as I can with the entire community about, well, maybe you want to go on Virgin Galactic. Who do you talk to? How do you do that? Similarly, I'm going to learn a lot about who's really willing to step up and support this kind of a project. And I think that's going to benefit the MoonDAO community because it seems to me MoonDAO is committed to a long-term project of an off-world community. And, we really need to know who's actually willing to put funding into this kind of activity. I've had people supporting me verbally for Frank to go to space for a long time. But now we're going to see who is really willing to stand behind that. But I think it would be true of any member of the MoonDAO community who would like to get support for a space flight or a space project like this. So I think that's going to be very, very helpful. And also the documentary activity and just everything that we're doing, I believe will bring knowledge and understanding to MoonDAO, and especially to this fundraising platform, which is terrific. And at this point, I think you're going to be wanting to serve other customers. So I think it'll help in that way.
Awesome. Yeah. It's exciting to get all these little wins out there showcasing our platform in different ways. Obviously, we did like the documentary with Iman a few months ago that premiered there in Nashville about his flight and his outreach. It would be cool to continue doing little features like that, obviously, with what you're working on here, Frank. I don't see any questions. I see Austin here typing, but no questions are coming through so far. If anyone here in StreamYard has any questions too that they want to pose to Frank, feel free to pop up. Okay. Austin's just remarking on a few of his favorite humans, including Richard Branson, which would be cool to have a MoonDAO connected flight with Virgin Galactic. Hey, Pablo.
Well, yeah, I interviewed Richard Branson for the most recent edition of the Overview Effect, and he promised to give me another interview after he had flown, and he owes that to me. So I'm going to be pursuing him for an interview, but also I'm hoping, to establish some good connections with Virgin Galactic around this project. I know a lot about Virgin, but not enough. I want to learn a lot more about their plans, their business plans, their engineering plans. I've heard that they have an enormous waiting list. I want to learn more about that, but it's going to be a good opportunity to do that.
Pablo, did you have any comments that you wanted to add here before we go into?
Yeah, no questions, but yeah, I guess just a quick comment. I guess circling back to what I said earlier, which is that we've been working with Frank for a long time, and just really excited to formalize things within a project and get a foundation started for what will be a really big initiative that I think will engage a lot of people and inspire a lot of people to do something really awesome. So I think out of anyone I know on Earth today, Frank is the most deserving person to go to space. He's dedicated his life to understanding the overview effect and has inspired, tons and tons and tons of people through his writing. And I think it's only right that we support Frank to get to space and make it happen for real. So I'm very, very obviously very supportive of the initiative, and I think that this project will be really impactful in putting together a really, really solid plan. So yeah.
Well, I want to thank you guys, Pablo and Ryan. This all started some time ago when I told Pablo and Ryan if they ever wanted to fly anybody else, I'd be their guy. And it turned out they were kind of interested in that idea. And yes, as Pablo said, we've been working on it ever since. And I want to thank the MoonDAO community for listening to the proposal and being open to this. And this will be this is not just for me at all. This is a project that I've always wanted to share it with everyone. I've never wanted it to be just a personal joyride. So it's going to be a project for anyone who really wants to bring the overview effect down to Earth and take humanity into the solar system.
I love that. Yeah. And well, one more thing that I do want to comment on, which I just find interesting, is that it's said that with AI, everything that humans publish or are putting in there ends up being kind of memorialized forever in this sort of collective consciousness that is emerging via AI. So I think the AI will find it very, very interesting to go to space with the author of the overview effect, and will likely have very interesting questions for you. So I think, as someone who's dedicated their life to interviewing astronauts, having all of that reflected back to you via an AI will be a full circle moment.
Yeah, we're coming up on the 40th anniversary edition of the book in 2027. And if everything works out, I want to have an interview, before and after interview with me in the book, and a before and after interview with the AI in the book. So that'll make it really different. It'll also have Iman and Gretchen and a lot of the new commercial astronauts in it, but it'll have some really different interviews that will move us into the new age of human AI interaction.
Totally. I'm excited for the book.
Me too. I got a lot of work to do.
Awesome. Cool. Well, I have posted the temperature check here in our Discord. So senators, please do vote. Please leave a check mark emoji there in the vote thread if you have voted. We've got 5 folks that have voted on the temperature check so far with a thumbs up. I need to remind myself about the new quorum here, but I think we're either at quorum or missing one person. But yeah, we'll make sure we get the quorum in here within the next couple hours. And yeah, it should be going up for a vote to the MoonDAO community later this evening, and it'll be up for a 5-day voting period, Frank, and then we should have a response from the community about this proposal.
Well, thank you, and thanks to the community for considering it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Frank. Bye. Cool. Well, yeah, that's all we have for proposals this week. It looks like we got 6 that have voted on the temperature check now, so I think we're probably good to go there. I'll double check though once we wrap up the call here. At this point, we can do some project updates. I want to invite some of our newest senators up on stage. So we do have 2 projects that recently passed MoonDAO vote here in the past week. I don't know who wants to hop up on stage, Daniel or Kara. Okay, Kara turned on her camera first. Hey, Kara. Congratulations on your proposal passing.
Thank you so much, everyone. I'm really excited. This is a special project, and it's fun when friends refer you to something, and now I'm getting really excited about it. So yeah, it just kicked off, and the little summary for our first few days of this 3-month project, basically. So it's kind of nice. It ended up on time with November, December, and January. So I've been bugging Ryan a little bit for information on, the things I need to get started. And so we're just kicking things off, but at a high level overview, we are finalizing on the date for MoonDAO's participation in our Grow Edge program. So this is my organization's ongoing growth, partnerships, networking, and education program that we have 25 organizations participating so far. And so MoonDAO will be participating. We have 5 spots for that. So I've been kind of talking to different people about who might be a good fit for that. If you're interested, feel free to reach out to me. I think you can find me in the Discord. Yeah. And I'm Kara Howard, or you can see the proposal, and I'm going to be kind of giving updates to my activities within that thread. This program is a good fit for people that are interested in networking, forging partnerships on behalf of MoonDAO. If you're already active in MoonDAO and maybe you're on the tech side, this is a sort of technical group as well. Most of us all are in the Web3 industry. A lot of people are in marketing roles, community building roles, founders, DAO leads, that kind of thing. So I encourage you to reach out if I've got some ideas about who to reach out to invite also. And then Ryan's going to be giving a presentation in December on MoonDAO, and in a kind of a thought leadership style format. And then we'll be, engaging with members and organizations that are potential partners. I have a call in an hour with one of the Grow Edge participants, which is the Moonbeam Network. So I'm going to be exploring what kind of, co-marketing and collaborations we may be able to do in alignment with the brand and what's going on there. So that's an update. We're going to have our virtual event, which is kind of the finale of this 3-month project together, is this live virtual event streamed on LinkedIn. We're actually going to be using Restream, and then we can stream with 10 different people, and that will be in the 3rd week of January. So we're finalizing what speakers we may want to have within that panel. So we have a pretty women-centric network, so we thought it could be cool to have one woman that went to space with MoonDAO if possible. So Ryan shared a couple ladies with Dr. Proctor and Amanda Nigan, and maybe we can connect with them. That would be awesome. So that is sort of in development. And then now we're getting started on the analytics. That's the first step, is really improving or just adding to your existing citizen dashboard with more metrics. There's quite a few different channels. We're going to try to gather as much information and integrate it in there. So you're going to become more aware. And every week, if I share here or on Discord, I'll be giving highlights of what's happening with the metrics in the ecosystem here. And then starting to review kind of what's happening within your referral program. That was a discussion with Ryan, and we might make some updates to that to make it a little bit more incentivizing for people to participate in the referral system, and also looking at your email marketing and improving some of that. Is probably going to be something I'll be starting next week. So yeah, starting to get in the weeds, and we'll keep giving you highlights. And thanks again for voting me in.
Cool. Thank you, Kara. Yeah, we've had some good initial conversations, and it's cool also to see you exploring as a new citizen and the dashboard and kind of different elements of the DAO as someone with fresh eyes, obviously, that is coming into this with a new perspective. And, it gives a lot of good feedback to us in terms of what we could improve in the flow or So it's much appreciated.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, yeah. First of all, yeah, congrats on having the proposal pass. But yeah, I just want to echo what Ryan is saying, that it's really awesome to have someone who is an expert in these things to help us navigate the whole world of marketing, and also getting more integrated in the sort of like Web3 community. So yeah, excited to see how this evolves, and yeah. Awesome to have you join us for this ride for a quarter, and then yeah, I'm sure we'll continue from there. Yeah, I think it's just cool to have like someone come in and like join us for like 3 months to just have this like focused sprint on marketing, and then I'm sure we can figure out other ways to work together in the future too. So cool.
Thank you, Pablo. Yeah, I'm excited. We're going to be exploring the names for this launch event, where it's not a launch event, but it's an introduction to Web3 event, it feels like, and maybe having something around decentralizing space, as a theme that's exciting. And then I think there's just a lot of, as I talked about in my pitch, like there's just a lot of people that are interested in innovation and new ideas, and are very, on the frontier of many different things in technology. So I'm excited to see how we can bring more people in Web3 into MoonDAO. And that will be part of the event as well, is that we'll be bringing in about 20 influencers that have communities and large networks to co-promote the event to their networks also. So
awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you. Cool. See if we can get Daniel up here with the Citizen Space Policy Initiative. Daniel, you there?
Yes, I am. Hey, guys.
Hey, congrats.
Yeah. Echo similar sentiments. Thank you so much for funding the project. Thanks to the whole community for funding the project. It's a different feeling to know that we've got the bones there now to carry this thing out over the next year. It's really, really exciting. It is a year-long project, so there's conversations that I want to kind of keep open around when we sort of deliver on certain parts of those like OKRs. There's obviously a timetable on the project proposal, and we kind of, as far as like the MoonDAO specific, delivering for MoonDAO type OKRs, they were in at the end there. Sort of we reach these totals by the end of by the project's conclusion. But I'd like to keep that conversation open as to whether or not we sort of bring those forward, or stagger the goals or a little bit, or sort of reshuffle things to make it so that we can sort of demonstrate consistency on that. And I think maintain, because it's such a long timeline for the project, I think it's important to kind of maintain really clear, transparent, and open lines of communication around those OKRs and progress and stuff in general. So yeah, just wanted to say that. Also, in terms of progress at the moment, we're basically trying to sort things out bureaucratic wise here in Germany to get things started. Got a meeting with the onboarding team for the tool in the next week or two. We have already brought on 5 partners in terms of expanding the initial reach of the sort of first round of the survey early next year. And a lot of our activities as a team at the moment is devoted to basically securing extra partnerships, not just within the space sector, but across like community organizations, indigenous organizations, non-space civil society organizations and things like that, to try and really maximize the reach of that initial blast as much as we can. We figure like the wider we go with the initial round, it all sort of snowballs from there. The wider it goes, the second round, and so on and so forth, right? We did do a bit of thinking. This is going back a little while, but again, I think it's something worth keeping open. And you guys are now the MoonDAO community as a whole is now part of this conversation with us. It's not just like internal team sort of deliberations anymore, because you're backing us. So I think we should open these questions to the MoonDAO community when we're thinking about them. And one of them was like, do we do regional focus early on, right? We were thinking, would it be better off if we just focused on a particular geography? And the rationale there was that because of the way we are able to kind of break down results and query certain results from certain geographies anyway, it made and because of the way networks are sort of distributed internationally anyway, it made no sense to kind of localize the project to a particular geography, a particular country or region in the first instance. And it made sense to just go as wide as we possibly could, as early as we possibly could, because of that sort of snowball effect. I won't go into too many details now. Just to say that I hope, as well as like we'll keep everybody updated on Thursdays with these project updates. We'll keep everybody updated on the project thread on Discord. But I would also encourage people to sort of check out the website, check out our thinking around more detailed thinking around methodology. So I don't bore everybody with the details on a call like this. We'll be adding more clarity to that as well. So yeah, thanks again.
Thank you so much, Daniel.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and congrats on the successful proposal passing. I know it was the second time you submitted it, so I also just want to say thank you for for persevering through the system, because I think the MoonDAO proposal system, it can be a little bit clunky, or it can take a little while. So I know it was like a full month and a half where you're trying to, or maybe even more, 2 months. So I just really appreciate that your ability to stay focused and integrate all of the feedback from the community and then get it through. That's honestly that's a really important part of the whole process, is being able to respond. So I feel very confident that you'll be able to steward this project really well, because you are very open to taking in feedback from a lot of the community, and obviously that's what a lot of this project is about too. So I think
you're exactly right. It is fundamentally it's about taking feedback from the community. You're right about that, but I mean, man, you guys don't owe us anything. So we were just you're submitting the project. You guys are generous. The community is generous enough to be offering these funds in the first place, and so submitting twice is no skin off our nose. We're just lucky to get funded. So really, really grateful. I do think it will be a huge boom. I understand that, and I would encourage, and I'm not going to, I do hope people understand that we as a group, and I as the project leader, are very open to that feedback and even to critique as well. So if there is I meant what I said in the project thread as well, right? If there's anybody who has concerns, if there's people who have suggestions, if there's people who if we want to get involved, you want to partner with us, all of those things are really great. And please feel zero hesitation about reaching out and expressing whatever that is to me, and I'll do the best I can to respond, and to sort of process that constructively as well. So just looking forward to the next year. Thanks, guys.
Awesome.
That's cool. Thank you, Daniel. Cool. I guess just a quick little housekeeping type announcement. Obviously, Kara and Daniel have now joined part of the MoonDAO Senate now as project leads. They now serve on the MoonDAO Senate, and I was seeing a little bit of maybe confusion with the changeover from Q3 to Q4 here in Discord, just about who had the Senate roles. So just every quarter, the top contributors for each quarter, the top 5 of them roll over essentially as senators for the new quarter. So in Q3, that was Enjabab, Iman, Anastasia, Titan, and Jade. So they are going to continue serving in the Senate for Q4 based on last quarter's work. And then we add any new senators, any new projects, which includes, for this quarter, we have Alex and Daniel and Kara that are being added to the Senate for this quarter. Potentially Frank, depending on the results of the voting process, of course. And last quarter, we had a couple folks that served on the Senate last quarter based on the Q2 results, which was Name.Get and Phil and Sarah Treasure Corp and Mitchie, who are not currently on the Senate. So if there's any confusion there around the thumbs up, thumbs down, and the temperature check for our senators, that's why. So I just wanted to clarify that if anyone missed the announcements earlier for the retroactive reward results. So new quarter, still a great opportunity to create any projects, any ideas that you want to see come to fruition here with MoonDAO. We'd love to see your ideas. We obviously had these 2 proposals last week, or maybe 2 weeks ago it was, and this one from Frank, but we're open to considering other cool project ideas in the coming weeks, so please do bring those forward. Pablo, I guess any updates from the executive branch that you'd like to cover beyond the fundraising mission?
No, I think we've pretty much covered, like, our major focus is on this fundraiser. We have some more stuff that we're working on behind the scenes that hopefully we'll update on soon. But just 71%. I think
72. I was 72. Just going to say we got a contribution here while we were on the call. William in Brazil, thank you so much for your $40 contribution while we were on the call. So now we're up to 72%. Getting closer. Huge shout out, William.
Awesome. I think we've got 9 more days. So if we even just get a couple percent, these like, and I just want to say one more time, like $5, $10, like it really does mean a lot, not just because you're contributing to a good thing, but then also if you like it is every rep that we get of like a new contribution coming into the system makes our system more resilient. These are all tools that we're scaling up right now for future initiatives. This is a kind of like first like beta run, and I think it's awesome if it's successful. I really hope, and I think we will get there. But I think a major part of this is just the learnings that we're getting along the way. We've already updated a ton of stuff as we're getting like people contributing. So like really like $1, like we're very happy because it shows that someone else was able to contribute. We've worked a ton on like the onboarding. I just want to like really emphasize like the whole, like a major point of this is that if you've never touched crypto in your life and this is the first time, like we want to make that first step incredibly smooth. I think we've achieved that. I've watched and had people, where they have no clue anything about like, and that's the whole point, right? You shouldn't have any clue about crypto to be able to contribute to these things. It should just feel like anything else. And we have Apple Pay. It's supported on some credit cards, not others. So but we're also working with Coinbase. Coinbase has like, I don't know, 12 or more different methods of like onboarding, and they make it really straightforward. You can do it in like a minute or 2. So yeah, just like try it out and post about your experience in the Discord and how things can be improved, because that's a major part of this is feedback. So
tell your friends too, like someone who has never used crypto before to just make a $2 to $5 donation and see how it goes for them, and let us know what we can do to make this better, like Pablo's saying. Because any small contribution helps. Like it's not just the amount you can give, but just getting more people to interact with these tools. And the number of backers is a huge signal too. Like right now, I think we have 35 backers. So yeah, we can get that up to, 50 backers, even if they're just small donations. That would be amazing, just to show the power of a decentralized community, a global community, to rally behind these kind of missions to make a difference, and use what we learned here for bigger and more ambitious missions.
Yeah. And one thing that I want to just kind of note, because I get this question kind of often, is like, why use Ethereum at all? Why use these sort of tools? And so I think there are many reasons. One is the accessibility. Anyone with an internet connection can contribute and be a part of this. The second is that it's very cheap and cost effective to be able to spin up these kind of one-off organizations. So there's something to be said there about just the amount of friction. But I think the point that is maybe lost on people that I think is important to highlight is that it's not just fundraising. It's also just the information system that exists after the fact. So you can do governance. So for example, if we raise more than the amount for one multi-access trainer, we'll be able to query the community and say, hey, what do the contributors want to do with the rest of the funds? What do we want to contribute to beyond the multi-access trainer? You can provide incentives using these. So it's essentially it's an accounting system that can evolve over time after the contributions are created. And then there's kind of a decentralized community that forms after the fact. And then people can compose and build off of the same sort of accounting. And I think that's, it's really interesting. Essentially what it means is that people can kind of run with that same open community and then add their own stuff on top of it. And it's these sort of open source communities that evolve after the fact. You'll have a bunch of people that love Space Camp and will be interested in other sort of Space Camp things in the future. So I think there's some really cool things that are enabled beyond just fundraising with this tech. So yeah, and I think the MoonDAO community is a testament to that. Obviously, all of the stuff that we've done after fundraising is because we've been built on this sort of basis. So
I was going to say, there wasn't this whole grand vision necessarily when MoonDAO first was created. It's been a living organism that's evolved a lot over time. I think we're on project V7, and we've gone through various iterations of organizing and how we operate as a DAO. But yeah, these same sorts of tools and that living kind of breathing entity can continue functioning after the fundraise, which is really cool to see what might happen, what other things we can unlock, I guess, what putting these tools in the hands of other people, what they'll unlock too. So yeah. Cool. Yeah, I mean, we're still the #1 trending project on Juicebox too, which is cool. We've been there pretty much the whole 3 weeks now. 53 payments, 1.12 ETH in volume, which is awesome to see. But yeah, keep those donations coming. Tell your friends, see if they can use it. If they can't, let us know. Very helpful feedback. But yeah, that's essentially all we have here on the agenda. We've been going for well over an hour now, but next week we do have a conversation scheduled with Ian from the Anthrofuturism channel on YouTube, who does really, really amazing detailed long form videos about lunar development and from all sorts of technical angles. So it should be a really fun, interesting conversation to explore what this future lunar civilization, habitat, and future might look like. So
yeah, I'm really excited for that conversation, and excited also. I think there's some videos I need to catch up on, so that'll be my homework, is just watching his YouTube videos, which is great. So
yeah, that's great weekend homework. So yeah, you can obviously RSVP for that. I need to update it on the calendar, but we've got that scheduled next week for the 13th of November. I'll update that here by tomorrow for sure, if not later today. And yeah, looking forward to seeing everybody same time, same place. And we'll be closing in on the last couple days of our fundraiser at that point in time. So let's, rock it for this last week or so, last 9 days.
Awesome. Okay.
Cool. All right. Thanks everybody. All right. Have a good weekend. Bye.
Welcome to MoonDAO, a revolutionary governance model and mission-oriented community that's reshaping collaboration in the space industry. Our mission is to create a self-sustaining, self-governing settlement on the moon to act as a launch point into the cosmos. MoonDAO is governed like a nation, with its own economy, constitution, voting system, treasury, elections, and senate, but internet native, and so without the limitations of geography. In 2022, we sent our first member to space, showcasing our model's capacity for real-world impact. Now, we're implementing key solutions for global collaboration in the space industry. We offer a borderless, permissionless platform that enables everyday people to participate in the future of space development and exploration. Be part of our lunar legacy and join the MoonDAO movement today.